When I woke up, my phone was blowing up with messages on Facebook, and they all said the same thing. Who's that guy on the couch that you guys are sitting on? The one right under your wife? I had no idea what they were talking about, but I had to take a closer look at the
What
picture.
the heck?
And
I didn't even
that's when
notice
I saw
that.
a face I hadn't seen in over 10 years. Jason. Buzzcut Jason.
Wow, y'all already here? Alright. Then let's not waste any more time. Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of Horror Nights. Now this series has been blowing up on my channel. Especially the first episode, it kept getting more views. I like what I see. I do like what I see. Before we get started with the video, I just want to say thank you to Billy for this comment. This truly means a lot to me. These type of comments could push a content creator above and beyond. But thank you, Billy. I think it was Billy for this comment. Let's get started. Alright, our first video is called No Sleep Tonight, and it is by Unhinged Pictures. Let's check it out. Oh, and before we start, make sure you grab something to eat, something to drink, and let's enjoy. You're reading a book? I would have gone out of there. Are you what? Is that a pocket knife? What is that? It's a pencil? Now get out of there. Why do they always end it off like that, bro? Now this next one is by a wonderful channel named Llama Arts. Now this is all Llama Art will always be a banger, so let's check it out.
My name is Ethan, and I'm a photographer. I took a trip last year with my wife to the Colorado mountains for an art project. My wife is also an avid skier, so she talked me into adding skiing into the trip. We had the option to book a room at a ski resort or rent out a private log cabin. The second one seemed more romantic, so I picked that one. Plus, it didn't hurt that it was cheaper. The cabin was nothing luxurious or anything. It was a single floor, 4-room little thing. A 2-person bedroom, a small living room, a kitchen, and a bathroom. It may have been small, but the actual idea of being secluded in a warm log cabin during a blizzard was amazing. However, the storm was interfering with the cable signal, so we didn't have much to do this one particular evening. It was just starting to get dark out at this point, but there was still a decent amount of light outside, so I thought it would be perfect for getting a few shots and videos in the blizzard for backgrounds and wallpapers. I told my wife I'd be back within 10 minutes and slipped on my boots and coat. The moment I stepped outside and shut the door, I noticed footsteps leading up to the door in the snow that had blown under the wooden awning. I could see the prints doubled, as whoever left them
Gotta get
turned
out of
and
there.
went the opposite direction. I was freaked the f*** out, but I wasn't about to go inside and scare my wife. I decided to give in to my curiosity and followed the prints to the right side of the cabin. Right away, I noticed that they led to the bedroom window. My heart froze in fear when I saw this. I could see my wife sitting on the bed using her iPad. She noticed me and I waved. She laughed. I continued to follow the footprints around the cabin to the other side. They led to the living room window on the other side. Someone was stalking us, but how long ago was the question? I found myself standing there for a good minute asking myself if I should follow the footprints anymore. For whatever reason, I decided I would. They were now leading away from the cabin. I knew I was following the prints to where this person was going, not coming from, simply by the boot
Those
marks.
footprints seems fresh.
I followed the prints away from the opening and into the trees. That was where I saw him. A man wearing a black coat facing a tree, slouched down looking at the ground. He was still as a statue, and I could see the snow piling up on his hood and shoulders. I froze in my tracks, trying not to make a sound. I would have thought to ask him if he needed help otherwise, but this guy was just standing there not doing anything, like some kind of deranged freak. I started to gradually move backwards without even turning around, making sure this man didn't turn around or notice me. When I got at a visual distance, I turned around and stomped through the snow back to the cabin. When I slammed the door shut, my wife came over to see what was wrong. I saw worry in her eyes. I guess she saw the worry in mine. She knew I saw something, and after a few minutes of harassment, I finally told her what I saw. She immediately started packing her things, telling me we're leaving right away. I told her no, we're not going anywhere. I would not get a refund for leaving early, and I wasn't about to up and leave just because some weird guy was walking around outside. She made a point of locking both locks on the door and making sure all of the windows were sealed shut. For the rest of the night, we read stuff on our iPads. I reviewed the pictures and videos I had taken so far. We turned out the lights early as there wasn't much else to do. What if he's still out there? I remember my wife asking me. There's no way he's still out there, I then assured her. Listening to the wind blowing outside, along with the small flakes of snow hitting the windows, was strangely relaxing, and I knew I'd be able to fall asleep quickly.
White
Except
noise.
if it wasn't for the knock at the bedroom window.
Bet.
We were both still awake, and we both knew it was a knock from a person. I ushered my wife out of bed and out into the living room without turning on any lights. There was nothing to use as a weapon whatsoever. Our only option was to run before something might happen. I told my wife we'd have to forget our luggage and make a dash for the Jeep. We slipped on our boots and coats in the dark in a matter of seconds, and when we heard a knock at the living room window from the opposite side of our car, we took that opportunity to run. I pressed the unlock button, so grateful I chose to have remote locks on my Wrangler, and we hopped in. The car started with ease, and as soon as the headlights flashed on, the man was standing facing the log cabin on our side now. Not a window, just facing the wall of the cabin in the same position I had seen him in earlier, as if he were hiding his face. We drove to the nearby ski resort without much trouble in the Jeep. We stayed there for the night and went back the next day to the log cabin to collect our things we left behind. He wasn't there.
Hopefully they got out of there. Alright, this next one, we're going to continue off of where we left off on Horror Shorts Party. Let's go.
Almost everyone has an ex, and when you get into a relationship with someone, everyone gives at least a moment of thought to the other people their new partner has been with. because you know they're thinking about yours. My wife and I are no exception. Well,
Keep your eyes on the
I
road.
should say my ex-wife and I were no exception. I've recently had to divorce my partner of nearly 15 years. I definitely didn't see it coming, though I guess I should have. But despite how quickly the decision was made, I still feel confident in my judgment. By the time we met, we had both been in the dating game for a while. And looking back on it now, it seems obvious to me that both of us at that point were more interested in finding someone good enough to settle down with, rather than finding the perfect someone, or whatever naive single people say. We both had our runs with narcissists, clingers, nutcases, and a few other flavors of insufferable people. But we each seem refreshingly normal to the other, so none of that history made a difference. Man, I should have paid a little more attention. Before we were married, my ex-wife would talk every now and then about this guy named Jason. Out of all her exes, he was the one she'd gotten closest with. They were together for a few years, and they even lived together. To be honest, I'm not sure I ever heard her say anything that bad about him, except that he had some strange habits and beliefs. When I asked why they broke up, she said something that I always thought was weird.
He moved to Tibet and became a monk. He said that money was the root of evil or something like that.
When she said that, the identity of this Jason guy clicked in my mind. I used to hear about him in secondary school, how he was always blurting out strange things in class, or sitting by himself every day at lunch, and generally just flying a lot of red flags, like bringing razors to school to shave his head in the washroom. Wait, you mean Buzzcut Jason? You dated him?
Yeah? So? What's wrong with dating the weird kid?
Because if you date the weird kid, that means you're also weird.
Oh, grow up. It's not like he was violent or anything. I felt bad for him, so I gave him a chance. He actually turned out to be really nice. Until he dumped me to go meditate himself into the grave.
That should have been my first red flag, but she managed to talk me out of suspicion. By all my means of judgment, Jason had really fallen off the face of the earth. Nobody I knew from secondary school had heard from him in years, and my ex-wife was the only one who claimed to know where he'd gone. For all I knew, she was right. Jason had relocated his life to Central Asia to practice Tibetan Buddhism, giving up everything he'd ever had in the process. Certainly that's not something you hear every day, but it's not something you never hear. And after my ex and I got engaged, Jason was never mentioned again. I didn't care anyway. What's one piece of baggage on an otherwise normal person? Unfortunately, that wasn't quite the end of it. I think that most people tend to get suspicious of their partner's loyalty at times. But I never thought I'd be one to have so many reasons to doubt it. I almost went crazy, thinking I was being overly paranoid about all the weird stuff going on. Coming home a few minutes early and seeing my wife out of breath for no reason. Hearing doors slam just before I got inside the house. Her rarely ever letting me go inside her car, and staying out super late on weekdays. I told myself those paranoid sensations were just the scars of being cheated on in university by other women. I thought once we started raising our family that it would all be put to rest. But then, our first child came out with bright ginger hair. My ex-wife is a natural blonde, and I've got regular old brown hair. I can still remember how it felt when that pit formed in my stomach. There was an intense discussion right then. Neither of us are redheaded, Jane. That's a recessive gene that nobody in my family shows, and you can't carry it because you're blonde. Explain to me how that happened.
Oh my god, I can't believe you.
Red
You
hair
didn't even
Shanks?
know my natural hair color is auburn? It's like you don't even know me. Maybe you cheated and you just want to shift the blame on me.
Oh, come on. How'd you come to that conclusion?
Enough of this! If you keep questioning me, I'm divorcing you and taking everything you have.
And that was how she got me. Holding the word divorce over my head like a guillotine. I always feared becoming one of those old lonely divorcees who spend every night at the pub. More than anything, I didn't want that to become me. So begrudgingly I dropped the issue, and made extra sure that the next kid was mine. But things never got easier. Those suspicions of mine never stopped getting stirred up by one thing or another. It started to get to me. Over time, I think I degraded mentally. Just from the stress and distrust that I was forced to live with for so many years. When we had our fourth kid, she told me that she was going to quit her job and become a housewife.
Well, one of us has to stay home to take care of all four of them, and you make more money, so it should be me. You don't really have paternal instincts anyway.
And to commemorate the moment, she wanted a photo taken of the six of us. We all crammed together on the couch, and I tried my best to put on my happiest smile for the camera. She posted it to her Facebook page as she updated her employment status. I didn't think much of it as I was exhausted from work. I was ready to go to sleep, especially since I had to get up early the following morning. When I woke up, my phone was blowing up with messages on Facebook, and they all said the same thing. Who's that guy on the couch that you guys are sitting on? The one right under your wife. I had no idea what they were talking about, but I had to take a closer look at the picture.
What the heck?
And
I didn't even
that's when
notice
I saw
that.
a face I hadn't seen in over 10 years. Jason, buzzcut Jason, lying under some kind of blanket, acting as a cushion for my whole family to sit on. And just from the way my ex was sitting on his face, I knew that he'd been the one she was cheating with all those years. I couldn't handle all the lies. He never went to Tibet to become a monk. He moved into her basement and became a bum. I never knew he was ginger because he always kept his head shaved. All the times I was suspicious and she tried to gaslight me.
Wow.
I'm not even sure a single one of those kids are mine. How many times did I narrowly miss an encounter with him? Was I ever safe? I didn't want to know. I divorced that wench at the first chance I got. And I may have become one of those lonely old pub regulars. But I'll tell you one thing. I still feel sound in my judgment.
These are real. Okay, that was pretty interesting. Now this last one is called Guest Bedroom, and it is by Sports Steve 24. Let's check it out. All the lights were on? Is that the living room? Barely have any windows. he live in an apartment? If it is, it's a pretty big apartment. Bro, whatever this AC sound is, bro, it's been playing for a while. That thing is loud. Damn. It's paranoid. What did he grab? Is that a what? Knife? Something's gonna run through the hallway. Or stare at him. That was it?
On the night of March 5th of 2024, a young girl is wide awake at a time when she should be asleep. Despite being past her bedtime, this doesn't stop her from playing with her toys. Throughout the night, she remains awake while keeping herself engaged in imaginary play. But little does she know, something unexpected would interrupt playtime. According to the child's mother, the family has been on edge ever since watching the footage recorded on their daughter's security camera. It's around 11 at night when this is captured.
Hold on. I don't know what just played, but hold on. The doll's gonna move on the right.
Sure, I'll play with you.
I'm looking around everywhere.
Yeah. Bling, bling, bling. Bling, bling, bling. Boom, yum, doom, doom.
Did it disappear? What happened? Wait, what? Why is it cutting out?
Let's go, let's go.
It's no wonder that the mother has kept her daughter away from this room. From a toy lighting up on its own and strangely playing the same song the child hums, to seeing her getting dragged under the bed in a seamless motion, the family is extremely concerned for the safety of their children. They believe that something had lured her using a toy. Although it isn't certain if the mother had asked what her daughter had seen, she's made sure to lock the room after seeing this. But only a few days later, she does this.
So I've been getting a lot of questions. People have been asking me, have you been in the room? Have you guys looked under the bed? No, we haven't. We haven't been in the room in the last 2 days. We've been a little scared.
Get a broom or something.
Should not be this scared right now.
Is that a pillow? Somebody sleeping under there? Is that a doll?
Oh my god.
I don't know why
As if
she
checking
was
under the bed wasn't already scary enough.
so
She
slow about
captures
it.
this, a creepy-looking doll hidden below the mattress. She continues to record when suddenly the doll begins to move. Now it's a bit hard to see at first, but after looking again, its head can be seen shifting ever so slightly. It's as if it knows it's being seen. Immensely terrified, the mother bolts out of the room in a panic frenzy. Naturally, she's kept the room locked ever since then. While it isn't known if anything else had occurred outside of the room, the mother continues to post updates giving her thoughts on the whole situation. But currently, the question on the parents' mind remains unanswered. Just what exactly had dragged their child under the bed?
Alright. We might watch that next episode. That wasn't half bad. Now that made this week, just by that video, that made this video probably like an 8. That was pretty good. But I feel like it was set up. For me personally, I feel like it was set up. because I don't know, the part where the mom was just going like this with the camera. Like I'll be like, you know, looking around, checking, you know. But what do y'all think? Tell me in the comments. But if y'all did enjoy this one, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, all that good junk, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out.